I don't think maybe I would have had those opportunities or pursued them with quite as much enthusiasm had I not been overseas. It was a different, I think, when you go overseas too, you do seek ways to sort of reconnect with who you were and explore who you are in a way that you wouldn't at home, because that's simply why you're overseas. In a place like,
Do you live to work or work to live? Andy LaRaia definitely falls into the latter category. He's figured out how to balance his love of teaching with a lifestyle that allows him to travel. I'm Cecile, a Canadian expat living in Turkey, and this is another expat conversation. Before I dive into my conversation with Andy, let me know where you're watching from. Just write the name of the city or the country in the comments below. Then hit the subscribe button and let's get started. Where are you from? Where are you now? And where else have you been?
yeah, so from DC, right now I am in the United Arab Emirates in Dubai in particular, teaching at the American School of Dubai. And I was previously 9 years in Istanbul at Robert College. And I'm on my third year here in the United Arab Emirates.
So what first prompted you to, because you were teaching in the States as well, I believe, right?
Right.
So what made you want to make the move to teaching abroad?
It's something I'd always wanted to do it. I'd always wanted to go abroad. I just thought it would be cool. My parents took me overseas to London for the first time, I think when I was 7. So I'd always really been kind of excited by travel and fascinated by travel. And we went to Italy a few times as a family to be with our own sort of family and sort of adopted pseudo family, because we'd had exchange students from Italy. So even as a young kid, I loved travel. And every time I went somewhere, like, oh, what it would be like to live here, it was always just kind of a predominant thought when I travel. And I just, I looked at teaching from a very early on as a way to be able to do that, is to travel and live abroad. And it seemed like one of the easiest ways to do it. And so I met at the original school that I worked at that hired me out of grad school. There was a teacher there by the name of John Shortridge. And he was very influential on my life. So I always like to give him props. He's above he's hopefully looking down on us from now. He passed away a few years ago, unfortunately, but he had done a number of overseas stints just like this. And he'd given me the bug and talked to me all about it and sort of talked me into it. And I had joined one of the placement services, but put it aside because of just varying things and then I finally it was right before the economic kind of crash of 2008. And I just was like, okay, I got to start this. So I wrote this letter and I made it was a cover letter, and I made it interchangeable so I could send it to any school that I was interested in that I could see on this list that were looking for people. One of them happened to be in Greece, ACS. One of them happened to be in Turkey, obviously Robert College, where you and I cross paths, and a few others. And I just changed it up. And I probably sent out like 20 letters that day, emails. And I was like, all right, cool. I did my thing. And I remember I woke up late for work the next day. And I checked my email, and this is literally the next day. It was Monday morning. And I checked my email and I had a response. I was like, oh my God. and it was from Turkey. It was from John Chandler, our former headmaster. And he said, oh, your resume, I can't remember the exact words, but it was something like, you look right in line for what we're looking for. And I was like, oh. And it was this kind of explosive moment in our lives, because I was like, holy crap, am I really going to do this? And I didn't stop to think. I literally did not stop to think. So that was early January. And so I didn't think. I think if I'd thought about it, I may have changed my mind.
So tell us, what exactly do you teach?
I teach ninth grade English, which I started when I came here because I was a new teacher and that was kind of the thing. And I hadn't taught young kids in quite a while in my career. I'd sort of done some different I'd gone into admin and done some other things. Um, so now I teach, yeah, so I teach ninth grade English, and then I teach a film class, which is really cool. I teach a writing class, a creative writing class, which is awesome. I teach occasionally when it makes when there's enough students. I teach a media studies class, which is a really cool class. And I teach a advanced literature class called Global Topics, where we kind of cover a bit of fiction, like 1984, and Gabriel Garcia Marquez, the one about the murder. Oh my God, I can't remember the name. The really short book. I can't remember it. Oh my God, this is terrible. It's been so long since I've been in school. And then some nonfiction articles and newspaper-based things, and also a book about the slums of Mumbai. So it's actually a very cool class. And yeah, so I'm basically just teaching now those courses, and I like the film and the writing. Obviously, are right up my alley, and I also get to I create the curriculum myself. It changes every semester, and that's really all up to me. So I find that very intellectually stimulating. It's one of the few. It's one of the really intellectually stimulating parts of that job, which I really enjoy, is getting to do that, and I can connect with older students. It's definitely that's what I like. Ninth grade is still. Ninth grade is cool because you have a chance to kind of create more than just, a student teacher relationship. You have a chance to sort of bring kids into the thinking that you want them to do for the next 4 years, and the writing that you want them to do, but also just how they're going to be part of the community. So I like that too. That sort of fits in with some of the mentorship stuff I really enjoyed from when you and I worked together at Robert. But so yeah, so it's a mix. It's varied. So.
I noticed you saying that you get to design your own curriculum. And
Mm-hmm.
I know that from your years at Robert and the different admin roles that you were also able to hold at the same time as you were teaching. Would you say that is common in international schools, or have you just been lucky that you get to really take a lot of ownership of your job? You really have a lot of say. It doesn't feel like a job. It really feels like, you just really get to take ownership and sometimes even create your own opportunities. Like, I think we can say that's been true for you. Do you think that's typical, or have you been lucky?
Um, I I think I've been lucky, to be honest. One of the things that I was really grateful to Robert College for, my previous school, was opportunities that I was allowed to pursue if I had the idea and be able to put them into practice. I was really grateful for that. I didn't realize how important that was until I didn't necessarily have it as in the same degree. I did the writing center, and I got the admin job, and I'd done the things. And then there's a couple things that I'd been asked to do, which, I was grateful for as well. But so I don't know if it's a norm or not. Right now I have autonomy to a degree, in programming those classes, because I'm the only teacher. But my current school is very big on collaboration, and the coaching method. We have coaches. We're very much a collaborative school, and we subscribe to and use that, collaborative thinking and the model from adaptive schools. That's a big part of what we do. So I'm really lucky that I teach those upper classes, because I do get to pick and really do my thing. So I'm really lucky. I don't know if it's the norm or not. I mean, in my ninth grade classes, I don't have as much. I wouldn't call it freedom, because that makes it sound like I'm locked in. I do have to collaborate and do have to meet. We have a co-teaching model as well, which I've been involved with a little bit. I haven't done it in the past 2 years, and but there's still some freedom in that. I mean, I think what's good is the school, while they're really heavily prescriptive in some ways, like this needs to be done, this needs to be done, this needs to be done, they're also hands off in other ways. So I think it's balance, which is nice. So at least from my school, they kind of let you do what you want to do. Now, if I was teaching AP classes, which I'm not, um, or IB, which we're not an IB school, I think that would be quite different. So, oh.
So I'm going to pivot our conversation into your other interests outside of teaching, specifically performance interests and interests in the arts. Do you want to talk a bit about being a musician and being a writer, specifically maybe in this expat context? Is it more difficult? Is it more easy? Is it a good outlet? Is it a lifeline?
Hmm. That's interesting. Yeah, I've always been a writer. Even, I always have. I studied it for my master's, and it's always been something I've done on my own. Also, I think that we had a good group of people. You and I had the writing group that had various people come and go through it, and that was very cool to connect with people like that. I found a better purpose, I think, once I got to Istanbul about writing, as I'd kind of neglected it for once I started teaching, and I felt a sort of a renewed purpose in that because there was people to share with, and then there was places and venues that you could perform. And our art department was really inspiring. Jeffrey Baikal Rollins was there when you and I were there. He was a performing artist. I mean, he was a working artist, I should say. So, and I thought that was very cool. That was very nurturing, very inspiring, and I really enjoyed being a part of that. Then the music came along, and I had the band, and we performed, out. I always said to those guys, it was like, and I'd ask them, really not said, I'd always ask them, I was like, do you guys think if we lived, like in Boston or DC or Philly or wherever, New York, especially not New York, but like, do you think we'd get to do this, like what we're doing, which is playing in clubs and, kind of having like weekend rock star fantasy life. Um, and they always said no. And I was like, yeah, you're right. This is unique to Istanbul. I think that we were kind of an anomaly, and we gathered somewhat of a small following and crowd because we were interesting. And we sort of played a different type of music, I think, than Turks were used to. And we were sort of a sight to behold on stage, as old and kind of crazy. But so that was awesome. I mean, I wish I'd been a little more not aware, but I wish I'd been a little more appreciative of it while it was going on, and just kind of enjoyed it for what it was. But it was definitely, I don't feel like, to kind of go back to what you said, I don't think maybe I would have had those opportunities or pursued them with quite as much enthusiasm had I not been overseas. It was a different, I think, when you go overseas too, you do seek ways to sort of reconnect with who you were and explore who you are in a way that you wouldn't at home, because that's simply why you're overseas. Yeah.
Do you agree with Andy? Are there things that you would really like to be doing that your current lifestyle, job commitments don't allow you to do? Let me know in the comments below what you would do if you had more time. For me, it was writing and gardening, among other things. But interestingly, it wasn't until I moved abroad that I was able to realize some career dreams I had had. If you'd like to see a video about that in the future, type "Yes Girl" in the comments below. If you haven't yet subscribed, you can hit that button now and make sure not to miss the next video. Until next time, bye!